The Custom Act 1962 Brief Summary. Section 102 162. Section 101 of the Customs Act 1962 Power to summon persons to give evidence and produce documents. Legal provision. Section 101 of the Customs Act 1962 empowers customs officers to summon any person whose attendance is considered necessary to give evidence or to produce documents during an inquiry under the Act. Textual essence, in simple terms. Customs officers can legally call, summon any person to appear in person, to give evidence, or to produce documents or records, if such evidence or documents are relevant to any proceedings under the Customs Act. Key features of Section 101. 1 key cap who can issue the summons? Any customs officer authorized under the Act, generally officers conducting inquiry, investigation, or adjudication. 2 who can be summoned? Any person, including importers bata exporters, cha bata customs broker, transporters, directors bata partners bata employees, bank officials, any third party having relevant knowledge or documents. There is no restriction that the person must be an accused. 3 purpose of summons. 2. Record statements. Obtain clarifications. Collect documents, books, records. Establish facts relating to customs duty, valuation, classification, smuggling, or violations. 4. Nature of proceedings. The inquiry under Section 101 is deemed to be a judicial proceeding. Hence, statements are recorded on oath. False statements may attract penalty prosecution under IPC, e.g., perjury. 5. Legal obligation to comply. A person must comply with the summons. Non-appearance or non-production of documents without reasonable cause can lead to penal consequences under the Customs Act. Proceedings under IPC similar to disobedience of court summons. Practical implications very important. Statement given under Section 101 is admissible evidence. Can be used in adjudication proceedings. Can also be relied upon in prosecution cases. However, statement must be voluntary. Any statement obtained by coercion, threat, or force can be challenged. Judicial interpretation, brief. Courts have consistently held that summons under Section 101 is valid and enforceable. But harassment or repeated summons without justification is not permissible. Right against self-incrimination under Article 23 of the Constitution must be respected. Difference from police powers. Customs officer. Police officer. Not a police officer for CRPC. Police under CRPC. Can record statements US 101. Can record confessions. Statement is admissible. Confession before police is not. Example. If customs suspects undervaluation of imported goods, they may summon importer, director of importing company, supplier's representative, bank officials, to produce invoices, contracts, remittance details, etc. Section 102 of the Customs Act 1962 Power to require production of documents and things. Statutory context. Section 102 of the Customs Act 1962 gives customs officers the authority to require any person to produce documents or things that are relevant to an inquiry, investigation, or proceedings under the Act. What Section 102 means? Plain language. If customs believes that certain documents, records, or things are necessary for an inquiry, they can formally require the concerned person to produce them. Physical appearance is not the focus here. Production of material is. Core elements of Section 102. 1 key cap who can exercise this power? A customs officer conducting or connected with any inquiry or proceedings under the Act. 2 who can be required? Any person who possesses or controls relevant documents or things, including importers bata exporters, customs brokers, chas, transporters bata warehouse keepers, directors, partners, employees, banks or other third parties. 3 key cap what can be required to be produced? Documents, invoices, bills of entry, shipping bills, contracts, ledgers, bank records, emails, where applicable. Things, samples, goods, packages, or any article relevant to the inquiry. 4. Mode of compliance. Production may be in original or copies as specified, at a specified place and time. Personal attendance is not mandatory unless separately required, e.g. under section 101/108. 5. Legal duty to comply. Compliance is mandatory. Failure to produce documents or things without reasonable cause can attract penal action under the Customs Act. Consequences under the IPC similar to non-compliance with judicial directions. Practical importance. Helps customs verify valuation, classification, origin, trace money trail and documentation, establish contraventions or compliance for the person concerned, ensure documents are complete, authentic, and consistent, keep an acknowledgement record of what is produced, seek legal advice if production may have self-incriminating implications. Section 103 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to search suspected persons. Statutory provision. Section 103 of the Customs Act, 1962 authorizes customs officers to search the person of anyone whom they have reason to believe is secretly carrying goods liable to confiscation, for example, smuggled goods. Meaning in simple terms, if a customs officer has credible grounds to suspect that a person is concealing smuggled goods on their body, the officer can conduct a personal search, but only by following strict legal safeguards. Essential conditions safeguards. Ek reason to believe, mandatory. The officer must have objective reasons, not mere suspicion. This belief should be based on information, intelligence, or conduct. To keycap right to be searched before a gazetted officer or magistrate. Before the search, the person must be informed of their right to be taken to a gazetted officer of customs or a magistrate. If the person opts for it, the officer must comply. Failure to inform this right can vitiate the search. Teen gender safeguard. Female persons can be searched only by another female. 4. Scope of search. Limited to personal search for goods liable to confiscation. Articles used to conceal such goods. It does not automatically include premises or baggage covered under other sections. Legal consequences. Goods recovered during a lawful search can be seized, used as evidence in adjudication and prosecution. An illegal or procedurally defective search may lead to evidence being disbelieved, relief to the noticee in adjudication courts. Practical illustration. At an international airport, if customs intelligence indicates that a passenger is body carrying gold, the officer may invoke Section 103, inform the passenger of their right to be searched before a gazetted officer magistrate, and proceed accordingly. Section 104 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to arrest. Statutory provision. Section 104 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to arrest a person if they have reason to believe that the person has committed an offence punishable under Section 135 of the Act, i.e., serious customs offences such as smuggling. Plain language meaning. If customs has credible grounds to believe that someone has committed a serious customs offence, they can take that person into custody, following the safeguards laid down in the Act and criminal law. Key components of Section 104. Ek who can arrest? A customs officer authorized under the Act, typically senior officers empowered by notification. Though grounds for arrest. The officer must have reason to believe that an offence punishable under Section 135 has been committed. This belief must be based on material evidence, not mere suspicion. 3. Key cap nature of offences, bailable, non-bailable. Depends on the value and nature of goods involved, as per amendments and notifications. Non-bailable, serious cases, e.g., high-value smuggling, prohibited goods. Bailable, less serious cases. Classification impacts custody, bail, and court jurisdiction. 4. Procedure after arrest. The arrested person must be informed of the grounds of arrest as soon as possible. Produced before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours, excluding travel time, in line with CRPC safeguards. Arrest memo and compliance with constitutional protections are mandatory. 5. Bail by customs officer. If the offence is bailable, the Assistant Deputy Commissioner of Customs may grant bail. For non-bailable offences, bail lies with the magistrate court. 6. Key cap rights of the arrested person. Protection against arbitrary arrest. Right to be informed of grounds. Legal counsel. medical examination where applicable. Article 23, protection against self-incrimination, and Article 22 safeguards apply. Practical notes, very important. Arrest under Section 104 is not automatic on detection. It is a discretionary power to be used sparingly. Courts have emphasized. Arrest is not mandatory in every customs offense. It should be used only when custodial interrogation is necessary or there is risk of flight, tampering, or repetition. Section 105 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to search premises. Statutory provision. Section 105 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to search any building, place, vessel, vehicle, or aircraft if they have reason to believe that goods liable to confiscation or documents things relevant to customs proceedings are secreted there. Meaning in simple terms, when customs has credible information that smuggled goods or relevant records are hidden in a premises or conveyance, they can lawfully enter and search that place, subject to safeguards similar to those under criminal law. Essential conditions safeguards. Ek reason to believe, mandatory. The officer must form an objective belief, not mere suspicion, that goods liable to confiscation or documents things relevant to proceedings are kept or concealed at the place to be searched. Though authorization. The search must be conducted by an officer authorized in writing, generally by a senior officer. Authorization should specify the place to be searched. Theme procedure to follow. Searches are to be conducted in accordance with CRPC principles as applicable, including presence of independent witnesses, pachas, as practicable. Preparation of Panchnama listing items found seized. Respect for privacy and proportionality. Charge scope of search. Covers buildings, places, office, godown, residence. Vehicles, vessels, aircraft. Can extend to seizure of goods documents found during a lawful search. Legal consequences. Items lawfully recovered can be seized and used as evidence. Relied upon in adjudication and prosecution. Procedural lapses, no authorization, no reason to believe, improper Panchnama, can weaken the case. Lead to relief for the noticee in adjudication courts. Practical illustration. Customs receives intelligence that undeclared foreign origin goods are stored in a warehouse. With written authorization and recorded reasons, officers may search the warehouse under Section 105 and seize the goods documents found. Section 106 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to stop and search conveyances. Statutory provision. Section 106 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to stop, search, and examine any conveyance, such as a vehicle, vessel, or aircraft, if they have reason to believe that it is being used for carrying smuggled goods or goods liable to confiscation. Meaning in simple terms, if customs officers suspect that a vehicle or other conveyance is being used to transport smuggled or illegal goods, they can stop it, search it, examine goods and documents, take further action as permitted under the Act. Key elements of Section 106. What is a conveyance? Includes motor vehicles, trucks, cars, buses, vessels, ships, boats, aircraft, any means of transport used to carry goods. Though condition, reason to believe. The officer must have objective and bona fide grounds, not mere suspicion, based on intelligence, information, surveillance, or conduct. Theme powers available to customs. Stop the conveyance. Search the conveyance. Examine goods, packages, and documents. Detain the conveyance for a reasonable time. Seize goods or the conveyance subject to other provisions like Section 110. 4 key cap use of force if required. If the person in charge fails to stop, the officer may use reasonable force. Take necessary steps to prevent escape or removal of goods. Force must be proportionate and justified. 5 safeguards. Power must be exercised lawfully and proportionately. Abuse of power or absence of reason to believe can invalidate action. Proper records Panchnama should be prepared. Practical illustration. A truck moving near a border area is suspected of carrying undeclared foreign origin goods. Customs officers may stop the truck under Section 106, search it, and seize the goods if found liable to confiscation. Section 107 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to examine persons. Statutory provision. Section 107 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to examine any person if they have reason to believe that such person is acquainted with the facts and circumstances of any case relating to smuggling or violation of the Customs Act. Meaning, in simple language, if customs suspects that a person has knowledge about a customs offense, even if they are not an accused, the officer can examine the person and ask questions relevant to the inquiry. This is a fact-finding power, mainly for initial investigation. Key elements of Section 107. Who can be examined? Any person who may have relevant knowledge, such as importer bata exporter, customs broker, transporter bata driver, employee bata staff, witness or third party. The person need not be an offender. Though nature of examination. Usually, oral questioning. Informal in nature. Statements are not recorded on oath. Generally not signed as formal confessions. 3 purpose. 2. Collect basic facts. Identify modus operandi. Ascertain roles of persons. Decide whether summons under Section 108 are required. 4. Legal duty to answer. The person is expected to answer truthfully. Cooperate with the inquiry. However, protection against self-incrimination under Article 23 applies. Section 108 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to summon persons to give evidence and produce documents. Statutory provision. Section 108 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to summon any person to give evidence and or produce documents or things in connection with an inquiry under the Act. This is one of the most important and frequently used powers in customs investigations. Meaning, in simple language, customs can legally compel a person to appear personally, answer questions on oath, submit documents records, if such information is relevant to customs proceedings. Key features of Section 108. Who can be summoned? Any person, including importer bata exporter, director bata partner, customs broker, cha, employee bata accountant, transporter bata bank official, any third party having relevant knowledge. The person need not be an accused. Though nature of proceedings. Inquiry under Section 108 is deemed to be a judicial proceeding. Therefore, statements are recorded on oath. False statements may attract IPC sections 191, 193, perjury. 3. Legal duty to comply. Appearance and truthful disclosure are mandatory. Non-compliance without reasonable cause can lead to penal action under Customs Act, prosecution under IPC. 4. Evidentiary value of statements. Statements recorded US 108 are admissible evidence, can be relied upon in adjudication proceedings, prosecution cases. But statement must be voluntary. Statements obtained by coercion, threat, or inducement can be retracted and challenged. 5. Key cap rights of the person summoned. Right against self-incrimination, Article 23. Right to be treated fairly. Seek legal advice, though advocate is usually not allowed inside during recording. Right to retract an involuntary statement promptly. Section 109 of the Customs Act, 1962, power to require assistance. Statutory provision. Section 109 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to require assistance from certain persons and authorities for the effective execution of the Act, especially during searches, seizures, arrests, or investigations. Meaning, in simple terms, when customs officers are carrying out their duties, like search, seizure, arrest, or investigation, they can legally call upon specified persons to assist them, and such assistance is mandatory. Who can be required to assist? Section 109 specifically covers police officers, officers of the central government, officers of state governments, local authorities, any other person, including civilians present or available at the spot. Nature of assistance. Assistance may include helping in search of premises or conveyances, maintaining law and order, preventing escape of suspects, helping in seizure, detention, or transport of goods, Acting as independent witnesses, pachas. Legal obligation. Assistance required under Section 109 is not optional. Failure or refusal to assist without reasonable cause can attract penal consequences under the Customs Act. Action under the Indian Penal Code for disobedience of lawful authority. Practical importance. Enables customs to conduct operations smoothly. Ensure safety of officers. Avoid resistance or obstruction. Carry out large-scale or sensitive enforcement actions. For the assisting person, assistance must be lawful. No one can be forced to do illegal acts. Role is limited to support, not decision-making. Section 110 of the Customs Act, 1962 Seizure of goods, documents and things. Statutory provision. Section 110 of the Customs Act, 1962 empowers customs officers to seize goods, documents or things if they have reason to believe that the goods are liable to confiscation or the documents things are relevant to proceedings under the Act. This section is the core seizure power that usually follows search. Sections 103, 105, 106. Meaning in simple terms, when customs suspects smuggling or other customs violations, they can take possession, seize, of goods, imported, exported, documents, invoices, contracts, records, or other things, articles connected with the offense, so that these are secured as evidence and not removed, altered, or destroyed. Key components of Section 110. एक reason to believe, mandatory. Seizure must be based on objective material, not mere suspicion. Reasons should exist before the seizure and be defensible if challenged. Though what can be seized? Goods liable to confiscation, e.g., smuggled, misdeclared, undervalued. Documents or things useful or relevant for inquiry, adjudication, prosecution. 3. Who can seize? A proper officer of customs empowered under the Act. 4. Time limit for issuing show cause notice, SCN. If goods are seized, a show cause notice under Section 124 must be issued within 6 months from the date of seizure. This period may be extended by competent authority for further periods for reasons recorded in writing. If SCN is not issued within the prescribed time, the goods must be returned to the person from whom they were seized, unless extension is validly granted. 5. Key cap provisional release of seized goods. Seized goods may be released provisionally pending adjudication. On execution of bond, with or without security bank guarantee. This balances business continuity with revenue protection. 6. Custody safeguards. Proper panchnama must be prepared. Custody should be lawful and proportionate. Seizure can be challenged if no valid reason to believe procedural safeguards violated. Practical illustration. Customs searches a godown and finds undeclared foreign origin electronics. The goods are seized under Section 110. A panchnama is drawn and an SCN must follow within the statutory time. Section 111 of the Customs Act, 1962, confiscation of improperly imported goods. Statutory provision. Section 111 of the Customs Act, 1962 lists the grounds on which imported goods are liable to confiscation when there is a violation of the Act, rules, notifications, or conditions of import. What Section 111 means, in simple words: if goods are imported in violation of customs law, for example by misdeclaration, concealment, undervaluation, or breach of license conditions, customs can confiscate those goods after due process. Confiscation is a civil consequence, loss of goods, distinct from penalties or prosecution, which may also follow. Major grounds of confiscation under Section 111. Illustrative and exam relevant clauses are lettered A, O in the Act. A. Import contrary to prohibition. Goods imported in violation of prohibition imposed by the Act or any other law. E.g., banned prohibited items without permission. Though misdeclaration but a false declaration. Wrong description, quantity, value, quality, or classification in bill of entry. Import documents. 3. Undervaluation but a overvaluation. Goods not corresponding to the declared value with intent to evade duty. 4. Concealment. Goods concealed in packages, baggage, containers, or within other goods. 5. Key cap violation of license authorization. Goods imported without required license or in breach of license conditions, FTP/DGFT conditions. 6. Key cap improper importation route or place. goods imported, not through a notified customs port, airport, land customs station, or in violation of prescribed procedures. 7 baggage violations. Goods found in baggage, not declared or exceeding permissible limits. 8 key cap, goods not mentioned in import manifest. Goods not shown or incorrectly shown in the import general manifest IGM. Procedure before confiscation. Confiscation cannot be automatic. Customs must seize goods generally under section 110 and issue a show cause notice under section 124 and give the importer a reasonable opportunity of being heard. Option of redemption fine, very important. In most cases, except prohibited goods, customs may allow redemption of confiscated goods on payment of fine in lieu of confiscation. Section 125. This is in addition to duty and penalty, if applicable. Relation with penalty provisions. Section 111 confiscation of goods. Section 112 penalty on persons involved. Both often operate together in adjudication orders. Practical illustration. An importer declares electronic goods as spare parts to pay lower duty. On examination, customs finds complete devices. Goods become liable to confiscation under Section 111 for misdeclaration and undervaluation. Section 112 of the Customs Act, 1962, penalty for improper importation of goods. Statutory provision. Section 112 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides for penalty on persons who are concerned with or abet the improper importation of goods that are liable to confiscation under Section 111. In short, Section 111 confiscation of goods. Section 112 penalty on persons involved. Meaning in simple terms, if a person does something or omits to do something or abets, helps, facilitates or is knowingly involved, which makes imported goods liable to confiscation, that person can be penalized under Section 112. Who can be penalized? Section 112 applies to any person, including importer, director bata partner bata proprietor, customs broker, CHA, transporter bata clearing agent, warehouse keeper, any other person who knowingly participated or abetted. Actual ownership of goods is not mandatory. Two main parts of Section 112. Section 112 A. Direct involvement. Penalty on a person who does or omits to do any act which renders goods liable to confiscation under Section 111. Example: importer files a misdeclared bill of entry. Section 112 B. Abetment knowledge. Penalty on a person who acquires possession, deals with, keeps, conceals, sells, or purchases goods, knowing or having reason to believe that such goods are liable to confiscation. Example: transporter knowingly moves smuggled goods. Quantum of penalty, broad principle. Penalty can extend up to the value of goods or the duty sought to be evaded, whichever is applicable depending on facts. Penalty is discretionary, not automatic. Essential ingredients for penalty. For Section 112 penalty, customs must establish goods are liable to confiscation under Section 111 and the person had mens rea, knowledge, intent, or active involvement or abetment. Without these, penalty may not sustain. Procedure safeguards. Penalty can be imposed only after issue of show cause notice under Section 124. Grant of personal hearing. Speaking adjudication order. Practical illustration. Goods are confiscated for undervaluation under Section 111. Importer is penalized under Section 112 A. Customs broker who knowingly helped is penalized under Section 112 B. Section 113 of the Customs Act, 1962, confiscation of goods attempted to be improperly exported. Statutory provision. Section 113 of the Customs Act, 1962 specifies the grounds on which export goods become liable to confiscation when there is improper or illegal exportation. Think of it as the export counterpart of Section 111, which deals with imports. Meaning in simple terms, if goods meant for export are misdeclared, attempted to be exported in violation of law, or exported contrary to license, prohibition, or procedure, customs can confiscate those goods under Section 113 after due process. Major grounds of confiscation under Section 113. Clause-wise idea. Exact wording varies from A, L. एक export contrary to prohibition. Goods attempted to be exported against any prohibition under the Customs Act or any other law. E.g., banned wildlife items, restricted goods without license. Though misdeclaration in export documents. False or incorrect declaration in shipping bill, invoice, packing list. Regarding description, quantity, value, or classification. 3 key cap overvaluation misuse of export incentives. Goods overvalued to claim excess duty drawback. Obtain maize, raw tep, other export incentives fraudulently. 4 key cap goods not in accordance with shipping bill. Export goods that do not correspond with the shipping bill or are substituted after assessment. 5 key cap violation of license authorization. Goods exported without valid license or in breach of conditions of license authorization, DGFT FTP. 6 key cap goods entered for export but not exported. Goods brought to a customs area for export but not exported or removed or dealt with without permission. 7 key cap attempted export by improper route. Export attempted not through a notified customs port airport LCS or in violation of prescribed procedure. Procedure before confiscation. Confiscation under Section 113 requires seizure or detention of goods. Issue of show cause notice under Section 124. Opportunity of personal hearing and a reasoned adjudication order. Redemption fine, Section 125. Except in cases of prohibited goods, exporter may be given an option to redeem goods on payment of fine in lieu of confiscation, in addition to penalty and other dues. Relation with penalty provision. Section 113 confiscation of export goods. Section 114 penalty on persons involved in improper export. Practical illustration. An exporter overvalues garments to claim higher drawback. Customs detects mismatch during examination. Goods become liable to confiscation under Section 113. An exporter is penalized under Section 114. Section 114 of the Customs Act, 1962, penalty for attempt to export goods improperly. Statutory provision. Section 114 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides for penalty on persons who are concerned with or abet the improper exportation of goods that are liable to confiscation under Section 113. In export cases. Section 113 confiscation of goods. Section 114 penalty on persons involved. Meaning in simple terms. If a person does or omits to do any act or abets the act which makes export goods liable to confiscation, that person can be penalized under Section 114. Who can be penalized? Section 114 applies to any person, including exporter, proprietor bata director bata partner, customs broker, CHA, freight forwarder, transporter, employee or agent, any other person knowingly involved. Ownership of goods is not mandatory for penalty. Structure of Section 114, 3 parts. Section 114 I, prohibited goods. Applies when export goods are prohibited. Highest level of penalty. Example, attempted export of banned wildlife items. Section 114, 2, dutiable restricted goods. Applies when goods are not prohibited, but exported improperly or subject to duty but are restriction. Example, export without required authorization. Section 114, 3, misdeclaration incentive fraud. Covers cases like overvaluation, false declaration, wrong claim of drawback export incentives. Example, inflated FOB value to claim excess drawback. Quantum of penalty, indicative. Penalty may extend to value of goods or amount of drawback incentive or duty involved, depending on the clause and facts. Penalty is discretionary, not automatic. Essential ingredients. For imposing penalty under Section 114, customs must prove goods are liable to confiscation under Section 113 and the person had knowledge or intent or active involvement but abetment. Procedure safeguards. Penalty can be imposed only after issue of show cause notice, Section 124. Grant of personal hearing. Passing of a reasoned adjudication order. Practical illustration. An exporter misdeclares quality and overvalues goods to claim excess drawback. Goods are confiscated under Section 113. An exporter is penalized under Section 114(3). Section 115 of the Customs Act, 1962, Confiscation of conveyances. Statutory provision. Section 115 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides that conveyances, vehicles, vessels, aircraft, etc., used in the smuggling of goods are liable to confiscation, subject to certain safeguards. Meaning in simple terms, if a vehicle or other conveyance is used knowingly for smuggling or carrying goods liable to confiscation, Customs can confiscate the conveyance itself, not just the goods. What is a conveyance? Includes trucks, cars, buses, ships, boats, aircraft, any means of transport used to carry goods. Key conditions for confiscation. Use in smuggling. The conveyance must be used for transport, concealment, or facilitation of smuggled goods. Though knowledge but connivance. Confiscation generally requires that owner, driver, or person in charge knew or had reason to believe that the conveyance was being used for smuggling. Exception. If the owner proves lack of knowledge and due care, confiscation may not be ordered. The owner's defense, very important. Conveyance shall not be confiscated if the owner proves it was used without their knowledge or connivance and they had taken all reasonable precautions to prevent misuse. Redemption fine, Section 125. Instead of absolute confiscation, Customs may allow redemption of the conveyance on payment of fine unless the case involves serious prohibited smuggling. Procedure. Before confiscation, show cause notice under Section 124 must be issued. Opportunity of personal hearing must be given. Order must be reasoned and proportional. Practical illustration. A truck is used to transport smuggled foreign liquor. If the driver and owner were aware, the truck is liable to confiscation under Section 115. If the owner proves lack of knowledge and reasonable precautions, confiscation may be avoided. Section 116 of the Customs Act, 1962, penalty for not accounting for goods. Statutory provision. Section 116 of the Customs Act, 1962 imposes a penalty on the person in charge of a conveyance, such as a ship, aircraft, or vehicle, if imported goods are not properly accounted for after being loaded for import into India. Meaning in simple terms, when goods are brought into India by a conveyance, all goods listed in the Import General Manifest, IGM, or related documents must be accounted for at the customs port. If any goods are missing, short-landed, or unaccounted, the person in charge of the conveyance can be penalized unless they satisfactorily explain the shortage. Who is liable under Section 116? Person in charge of the conveyance, such as master of the vessel, pilot in command of aircraft, driver or operator of vehicle, shipping line airline through authorized persons. When does Section 116 apply? When goods shown as loaded in the IGM or other documents are not produced or accounted for at the destination customs station. Typical situations: short landing, pilferage, unexplained loss during transit. Nature of penalty. Penalty may extend to value of the goods or duty chargeable on such goods, as prescribed depending on circumstances. Penalty is civil in nature, not criminal. Defense available, very important. Penalty under Section 116 cannot be imposed if the person in charge proves that the shortage occurred due to natural causes, accident, circumstances beyond control, and reasonable precautions were taken. Practical illustration. A vessel's IGM shows 1000 cartons loaded abroad, but only 980 cartons are landed in India. If the shipping line cannot satisfactorily explain the shortage, penalty under Section 116 may be imposed on the person in charge. Section 117 of the Customs Act, 1962, residual penalty. Statutory provision. Section 117 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides for a general, residual, penalty for contraventions of the Act or rules for which no specific penalty is provided elsewhere in the Customs Act. Meaning in simple terms, if a person violates any provision of the Customs Act, rules, or regulations, and that violation is not specifically punishable under sections 112, 114, 116, etc., then section 117 can be invoked to impose a general penalty. Think of section 117 as a catch-all penalty provision. Key features of section 117. One key cap when is section 117 applicable? When there is a contravention of the Act rules regulations and no other section provides a specific penalty for that contravention. If a specific penalty section applies, section 117 cannot be used. Though who can be penalized? Any person, including importer bata exporter, customs broker, carrier bata transporter, warehouse keeper, any other person violating customs provisions. Teen quantum of penalty. Penalty may extend up to 1 lakh rupees. As amended, subject to current statutory limits. Exact amount depends on nature of contravention, gravity, role of the person, char nature of penalty, civil penalty, discretionary, imposed after due process, procedural safeguards. Penalty under section 117 can be imposed only after issue of show cause notice, section 124, opportunity of personal hearing, reasoned adjudication order. Practical examples: failure to maintain prescribed records, non-compliance with procedural requirements, technical violations without revenue loss, breach of conditions where no specific penalty section exists. Section 118 of the Customs Act, 1962, confiscation of packages and their contents. Statutory provision. Section 118 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides that where any goods are liable to confiscation, the packages, containers, cartons, boxes, etc., in which such goods are found are also liable to confiscation along with all other contents of those packages. Meaning in simple terms, if even one item inside a package is smuggled or otherwise liable to confiscation, then the entire package and all goods contained in that package can be confiscated by customs. This prevents mixing legal goods with illegal ones to escape confiscation. Key elements of section 118. What is a package? Includes cartons, boxes, crates, bags, containers, any packing used for transport or storage of goods. Though trigger for confiscation, at least one article in the package must be smuggled or liable to confiscation under the Act, e.g., section 111 or 113. Teen extent of confiscation. Customs may confiscate the package itself and all other contents of that package, even if some contents are otherwise lawful. 4 key cap rationale why this section exists. To prevent concealment of smuggled goods among legal goods, evasion by mixing prohibited items with permissible cargo. Important safeguard. Confiscation under section 118 is not automatic punishment. Customs must still issue a show cause notice, section 124, give opportunity of hearing, pass a reasoned order. Practical illustration. A carton contains 90 declared garments and 10 undeclared foreign origin electronics hidden inside. Since some goods are liable to confiscation, the entire carton and all its contents become liable to confiscation under section 118. Section 119 of the Customs Act, 1962, confiscation of goods used for concealment. Statutory provision. Section 119 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides that any goods used to conceal smuggled goods are also liable to confiscation, even if the concealing goods themselves are otherwise lawful. Meaning in simple terms, if legal goods are used as a cover or hiding place to conceal smuggled or confiscable goods, then the concealed smuggled goods and the goods used for concealment can both be confiscated by customs. This closes a common evasion tactic, hiding illegal items inside legal cargo. Key elements of section 119. What triggers section 119? There must be smuggled goods or goods liable to confiscation and other goods deliberately used to conceal those smuggled goods. To keycap what are goods used for concealment? Examples include garments used to hide electronics, food items used to conceal gold bars, Machinery parts modified to hide prohibited items. False bottoms, liners, or layers made of goods. 3. Knowledge but intent. Confiscation under Section 119 typically presumes intentional use for concealment. Evidence of deliberate design or placement strengthens customs case. 4. Procedure safeguards. Confiscation is not automatic. Customs must seize the goods, usually under Section 110. Issue a show cause notice under Section 124. Provide opportunity of hearing, and pass a reasoned adjudication order. Section 120 of the Customs Act, 1962, confiscation of smuggled goods notwithstanding change of ownership. Statutory provision. Section 120 of the Customs Act, 1962 declares that smuggled goods are liable to confiscation even if their ownership has changed after the act of smuggling. Meaning in simple terms, if goods are smuggled, they do not become legal merely because they are sold, ownership is transferred, or they reach a subsequent buyer. Smuggled goods remain confiscable wherever they are found, regardless of who owns them at that time. Core principle. Once smuggled, always smuggled. Change of hands does not cleanse illegality. Who can be affected? Original smuggler, middlemen butter traders, subsequent purchasers, even bona fide buyers if the goods are proved to be smuggled. Good faith does not bar confiscation, though it may matter for penalty. What Section 120 covers? Goods themselves, not the buyer. Applies irrespective of number of transfers, time elapsed, price paid. Important distinction: confiscation versus penalty. Confiscation, Section 120 Uda Smiley, can happen even against innocent holders of smuggled goods. Penalty, Sections 112-114 Uda Smiley, requires knowledge, intent, or abetment. Thus, a bona fide purchaser may lose the goods but not be penalized if lack of knowledge is proved. Procedure safeguards. Customs must still seize the goods, Section 110. Issue show cause notice, Section 124. Give opportunity of hearing, and pass a reasoned order. Practical illustration. A trader buys foreign origin watches from a local market. Later, customs proves they were smuggled into India. Even if the trader bought them in good faith, the watches can be confiscated under Section 120. Section 121 of the Customs Act, 1962, confiscation of sale proceeds of smuggled goods. Statutory provision. Section 121 of the Customs Act, 1962 provides that where smuggled goods are sold, the sale proceeds of such goods shall also be liable to confiscation, provided the person holding the proceeds knew or had reason to believe that the goods were smuggled. Meaning in simple terms, if smuggled goods are sold and customs cannot seize the goods themselves because they are already disposed of, then customs can confiscate the money or proceeds earned from selling those smuggled goods. Key ingredients of Section 121. Smuggled goods must exist. It must be established that the goods involved were smuggled under the Act. To keycap goods must have been sold. Section 121 applies only when goods are no longer available for confiscation because they have been sold. The knowledge is mandatory. The person in possession of the sale proceeds must know or have reason to believe that the goods sold were smuggled. Without proof of knowledge, confiscation of sale proceeds cannot be sustained. What are sale proceeds? Includes cash, bank balance, checks, other monetary benefits directly traceable to the sale of smuggled goods. Important distinction from Section 120. Aspect. Section 120. Section 121. Subject. Smuggled goods themselves. Sale proceeds of smuggled goods. Knowledge required. Not required for confiscation. Mandatory. Situation. Goods are traceable. Goods already sold. Procedure safeguards. Confiscation under Section 121 requires show cause notice, Section 124. Opportunity of hearing. Proof of knowledge or reason to believe. Reasoned adjudication order. Practical illustration. A person sells smuggled foreign liquor and deposits the cash in his bank account. If customs proves that he knew the goods were smuggled, the cash deposited can be confiscated under Section 121. Section 122 of the Customs Act, 1962, Adjudication by Customs Officers. Statutory provision. Section 122 of the Customs Act, 1962 specifies which customs officers are competent to adjudicate cases, i.e., decide confiscation, penalties, fines, based on the value of goods and the quantum of penalty involved. Meaning in simple terms, not every customs officer can decide every case. Section 122 fixes monetary limits and tells which rank of officer can pass an adjudication order in a particular case. Adjudicating authorities under Section 122. 1 Key Cap Assistant Commissioner Deputy Commissioner of Customs can adjudicate cases involving confiscation of goods or imposition of penalty, where the value penalty is within the prescribed lower limits as notified. 2 Key Cap Joint Commissioner Additional Commissioner of Customs can adjudicate higher value cases than those handled by ACDC within limits specified by notifications or board instructions. 3 Commissioner of Customs has the power to adjudicate high value cases and cases involving unlimited value of goods and or unlimited amount of penalty. Practically, major smuggling, valuation fraud, and policy-sensitive cases are decided by the Commissioner. How monetary limits work? The Act provides the framework. Exact monetary ceilings are fixed through CBIC notifications, standing orders bata instructions. Limits may differ for import cases, export cases, baggage cases. What Section 122 covers? An adjudicating officer under Section 122 may decide confiscation, Sections 111, 113, 115, etc. Penalty, Sections 112, 114, 116, 117, etc. Redemption fine, Section 125. What Section 122 does not cover? Arrest, Section 104. Search seizure, Sections 105, 110. Criminal prosecution, Section 135. These are handled separately. Importance of Section 122, very practical. If an order is passed by an officer not competent under Section 122, the order can be challenged as void and set aside on jurisdictional grounds. This is a strong technical defense in adjudication and appeals. Practical illustration. If the value of confiscated goods is very high, but the order is passed by an assistant commissioner beyond his monetary limit, the order can be challenged for lack of jurisdiction under Section 122. Section 123 of the Customs Act, 1962, burden of proof in certain cases. Statutory provision. Section 123 of the Customs Act, 1962 shifts the burden of proof in respect of specified goods. In these cases, the person from whom the goods are seized or who claims ownership must prove that the goods are not smuggled. Meaning in simple terms, normally, customs must prove that goods are smuggled. But for certain notified goods, Section 123 reverses this rule. You must prove legality, lawful import possession, not customs proving illegality. When does Section 123 apply? 1 Key Cap goods must be notified goods. Section 123 applies only to goods notified by the central government. Common examples, as notified from time to time: gold and gold jewelry, watches, electronic items, other high-risk smuggling goods, as per notifications. If goods are not notified, Section 123 cannot be invoked, though goods must be seized. The provision applies after seizure under the Act, typically Section 110. 3 Key Cap burden on the person concerned. The burden lies on the person from whose possession goods are seized or any person claiming ownership to prove that goods are not smuggled and possession is lawful. What kind of proof is expected? The person must produce credible documentary evidence, such as import documents, bill of entry, valid invoices, duty payment proof, legal procurement records. Mere oral explanation is not sufficient. Legal consequences. Failure to discharge the burden goods may be confiscated, Sections 111/113, and person may face penalty, Sections 112 by 114. Successful proof confiscation penalty may fail. Important safeguards judicial principles. Courts have consistently held. Section 123 is an exception, not the rule. It must be strictly construed. Customs must first prove goods are notified and proper seizure was made. If possession is not proved, Section 123 cannot be applied. Practical illustration. Customs seizes gold bars from a person. Since gold is a notified good, the person must prove legal import or lawful acquisition. If he fails, customs need not further prove smuggling. Section 124 of the Customs Act, 1962, issue of show cause notice, SCN, before confiscation or penalty. Statutory provision. Section 124 of the Customs Act, 1962 lays down the mandatory principles of natural justice that customs must follow before confiscating goods or imposing any penalty on a person. No confiscation or penalty is valid unless Section 124 is complied with. Meaning, in simple terms, before customs can pass an adverse order against you, they must tell you clearly what is alleged, show cause notice, give you time to reply, and give you a chance of personal hearing. Without this, the order is illegal. Mandatory requirements under Section 124. एक show cause notice, SCN. Customs must issue a written notice informing the person grounds of proposed confiscation and or grounds of proposed penalty. The SCN must mention specific sections invoked, state facts, evidence, and allegations. Not be vague or mechanical. Though opportunity to make representation. The noticee must be given reasonable time to file a written reply, produce documents and evidence. Denial of adequate time violates Section 124. Teen opportunity of personal hearing. A personal hearing must be granted before passing the order. Hearing allows oral arguments, clarifications, submission of case laws, exceptions, limited specific. Section 124 does not apply where goods are perishable or hazardous, or immediate action is necessary in public interest. Even then, post-decisional hearing is generally required. Legal consequences of non-compliance. If Section 124 is violated, confiscation order can be set aside. Penalty can be quashed. Matter may be remanded for fresh adjudication. Courts consistently hold Section 124 to be mandatory, not procedural. Practical illustration. Customs seizes goods and directly confiscates them without issuing SCN or hearing. Such confiscation is invalid due to violation of Section 120. Such confiscation is invalid due to violation of Section